Welcome to Teen Talk. What you've just seen is a bit of a mystery that we're going to clear up right now, because Anthony Campbell is going to tell us at the very beginning we saw the word, well, you tell me the word that we saw, and then tell me what we actually saw when the young men did what they did.
Well, the group is Adimu Men of Excellence Club, a Blanchard High School, and what you saw was an example of what we call stepping. Stepping is an art form that involves various hand claps, stomps, and chants that are incorporated into a routine. And it was pretty much developed within the historically black colleges by the Greek fraternities and sororities as a way of competing and kind of gaining some bragging rights. And it shows rhythm and coordination and synchronicity and all those things. And that's something that the Adimu Men of Excellence Club does on a regular basis.
We're going to find out about the club and what it does, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how are these are competitive steppers, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do they typically rank?
Probably a 12.
A 12. Not to the, so this is called Teen Talk modesty.
Right.
Okay, very good. Now, give us some background of the club, because we have club members here, and we want to talk with them about what you do. We want to find out all about it. You founded this club.
Yes.
10 years ago. So tell me why you founded it to begin with. Tell me why.
It was myself along with another instructor at Blanchard. We were really concerned about the direction and what we were seeing with a lot of the young men at the school. We saw a lot of the young men engage in a lot of negative behavior, whether it's sagging their pants or being suspended from school, and a lot of them were headed in the wrong direction if they had any type of direction at all. And so what we endeavored to do was to start an organization that would reach out to these boys and kind of give them some guidance and point them in a more positive direction. And so what I did was just did some research and see what we can do to put together a club. And the word Adimu is the name that we selected because the word Adimu is a Swahili word that means rare. And our main goal is to try and develop a rare group of young men that exemplify respect, responsibility, brotherhood, and leadership. And so that's been our mission for the past 10 years.
Well, that's super. How do you choose people for the club? Because there are how many in the club in any given year?
Any given year, there are about between 40 to 50 boys in the club, and we have an application process that we go through at the beginning of the year where it's open to any male student at Ely. They can apply, and there's an essay that they have to write. One of the essay topics may be my definition of a real man. And so what we want them to do is just kind of look at themselves and give us what their idea of a real man is, and we examine those essays, and then they have to complete that recommendation process with their teachers. And we have an interview process. Once they're done with the application, they submit the essay. Myself, along with the officers, as well as some of the alumni, sit down with each applicant and just interview them to find out where their head is and their aspirations and things of that nature. And then once we're done with that, we let the ones know that are selected to the club. And a lot of people think that the club is for young men that are straight A students, that are valedictorian, things of that nature. But truly, we're looking for a mix of young men, not just the ones that are academically on point, but we're looking for the ones that are struggling and maybe he's gotten in trouble a little bit, but he wants to change his life and he wants to head in a positive direction. So we try to bring all those types of young men together in the same group. So it's a mix between, but all of them want to be excellent, and that's the main goal.
Have you figured out why some people want to be excellent and others don't quite get the point?
I believe it's just a matter of influence, and some young people, whether they're male or female, don't know what excellence is and what it means to pursue it. And they're really surrounded by a lot of negative, and so that's what they wind up doing, what they see often or what they are influenced by on a regular basis, so they engage in that negative activities. A lot of them don't know what excellence is all about. And so that's what we try to do as far as the young men are concerned, is try to, through this organization, show them what excellence is, that you can be cool, you can be outstanding, and you can be excellent and still have a great time in high school.
How many people apply, and for these 40 or 50 slots?
On average, we usually have about 30 boys that apply, and sometimes it goes even higher than that. And we really, it's kind of a little, I don't even want to say a little secret thing, but we really don't turn too many of them away.
Okay.
You know, because we really want to try to help. We really want to find those young men that really want to change. And that's the main thing. If have a young man that comes and applies and maybe has a low GPA or he's gotten in trouble through our interview process and me kind of observing the young man, we want to help him so he can get on point and be around young men that are trying to do the right thing. So it's very rarely that we turn away.
So the idea is that if they've even taken the initiative to go through that process, then of course they may be on track. Having heard from Mr. Campbell, who has founded this, and so you've had an opportunity to have 10 years of perspective, and we'll get more from you. I now want to go to the group. Maybe we should start with the steppers. Is that what you call yourself? Is that a good term? Who would like to begin to tell us, because the value here is for the viewers who may be watching and saying, I know a young man who could benefit from this or from other programs. Which one of the two of you would like to start about how you found out about the program and what brought you to it? You want to begin?
Yes. Well, back in my freshman year, I attended the freshman orientation at our school at Blanche Ely, and I saw Adimu. It was a group of members back then that were dressed up in the tie and the jackets, and I saw that looks like a nice group. My mom actually told me that I was going to be in it without a doubt.
Oh, so, I see. She was.
Yes. She really wanted me to be a part of it.
Yeah. So you had somebody out there.
Right.
Okay.
She pushed me towards it, so I said, hey, I'll give it a try. And again, I wanted to step as well, and that was the only male step team at Blanche Ely High School, so I knew that I was going to be a part of that group. So I did the application, as Mr. Campbell said, and I got in.
Super. How would you like to add to that?
Back in my freshman year, my cousin actually attended Blanche Ely High School before me, and at freshman orientation, she picked up an Adimu form flyer and gave it to me, and she told me too that I was gonna be an Adimu man. When I got to school, I was like, why not? It's something positive, and that's what I want to do. And I also, like him, I applied and I got in.
You know, I've heard when we've done other programs where it's the positive peer pressure, because so much is negative peer pressure. But I've just heard two people, in your case it was your mother, and then it was your cousin, saying you will do this. Anybody else come to it a little more hesitantly? Or, yeah, okay, here you go. Go ahead, start with you.
Well, my sister, she was an alumni of Blanche High School in 2006.
We want to be sure we project, so speak up. Okay.
She actually told me about the group. She was like, oh, they're nice. Basically, she said they get all the girls, so I was like, that's for me. So
I see, so there's an added selling point here. I got it. Well, listen, whatever it takes. Okay.
So when I got there, prior to being at Adimu, I was in the football team, and I was in the part of the band, and I was like, you know what? Let me go and do this, see how it is, and I'm glad that I'm a part of this brotherhood, because like there's no other club at Blanche Ely like this. Being a part of the football team, there's no unity like Adimu.
Really,
unity, brothers.
What's the talk to me about the unity? That feeling you said of brotherhood, the difference, because I would have thought a football team would have had that kind of thing. No, you broke your arm, right? I mean, your hand. I asked you what he did with his hand. He broke. You are still a football player, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so tell me the difference between the team spirit or lack thereof and Adimu.
It's like team spirit. Like if you're a football player, they have different different cliques on the football team. Well, when you're part of Adimu, everybody talks to everybody. We're our brotherhood. If somebody's slacking, we help them out. If they need something, we're there for each other. Football team, it's like every man for himself sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you win games?
Yes, we're undefeated.
Really? Well, then there must maybe that's a prescription for football. I would have thought you all had to work together. No?
We do, but you know.
But maybe it's when you're not playing. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. You raised your hand. Did you come to Adimu? Did somebody have to push you too, or what?
Actually, for freshman orientation, when I came, I also saw all the members wearing their jackets and stuff like that. My grandmother didn't know about it. She tried to buy me the jacket before I even got in the club. But getting into the school, and I was kind of apprehensive about it, and I didn't want to go and jump into something that I saw I saw people talking about how good and stuff like that it was, and a lot of people that really wanted to be into it and that kind of thing. And I kind of, at first, I didn't want to go and join in with everyone else. I thought, well, I don't want to go into something that everyone else is going into just because everyone else is. But it wasn't. Then I found that really wasn't the reason. And actually, Kevin over here, he ended up persuading me to come one day, and I came, and ever since that day, I stepped for a while and stuff like that. But that brotherhood and that unity and that everything it instilled in me with responsibility and different things like that. It just kept me coming, and I really enjoyed it, and it's really changed me.
How does it change you?
Well, freshman year, I was, really low. I had really low grades, stuff like that. I had very low drive in me, and that nature, and I had nothing that was pushing me and stuff like that. But when I ended up joining Adimu, I saw others that were doing well. I had people to help me out. I had people that advice that people could come to me and tell me what to do. Who had been through this kind of situation, and they guided me along and stuff like that. And it helped me come back and bring myself back up to actually being now to have good grades and do what I have to do. And it's just changed me in that way.
What did you say to him to get him to come to Adimu?
I told him that he's coming, or I'm gonna pick him up and just drag him.
Oh, I see. That seems to have a convincing thing, and that has a way seems to work. Your mother said you will do this. Besides that, because you can drag somebody there and they still won't stay. What was it that Kevin said to you aside from that extreme?
Well, it wasn't all that he said. I mean, it was a lot of him saying stuff like every single Tuesday or so, he would always come to me, because we had the same class 2 or 3 times that year, freshman year, and he would come to me like every Tuesday, which was when we have our meetings. He would come to me and he would always tell me about the club and always tell me to come and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll come sometime. And eventually, it was just, all right, you know what, I'll come. So I came, and that's what happened. And I saw them. Eventually, I saw people walking around with the ties and the shirts and the jackets, and I ended up seeing people together that, they worked together and stuff like that, and it ended up being something that I found that I actually really wanted to be a part of.
Kevin, what is your sales pitch to people other than I'm going to physically drag you?
I told him it's a good opportunity to get to know other males in the school and build a brotherhood with them, because it's a tight brotherhood. Like, I know every one of these people. I know some of their families. And tell them about the community service that we do, because we're good on that. I mean, there's a lot of things you can say.
Is there a kind of person that you can look at and say, this person would be good for Adimu? Or, because I mean, not everybody is necessarily going to be there. Are there certain, what do you kind of see? What did you see in Kevin?
I saw that, like he said, he didn't really have the motivation his freshman year, and I saw that. And when I got in the club, I was like, wow, like, they're really pushing us, because we do badges, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about later, that help us build leadership and responsibility and all of that stuff. So I was like, Blake could really use some of this right now to help him stay on top of his grades.
But you saw in him potential.
I saw potential.
And in a lot of people, by the way, is that something that you instill in people, Mr. Campbell, or that you aspire that they should kind of be recruiters?
Right.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, during our recruiting period, we push them, the young men that are a part of the club, to look for potential members. And that word is key, potential. Yeah. As I alluded to earlier, he doesn't have to be at the top of the class. He doesn't, but somebody, and they talk to all the young men in the club, in the school pretty much, whether it's the guy that's just been suspended last week, or the one that is the top of the class, and they invite them to be a part of the club. So it's really looking for that potential, the potential for excellence, really.
That's the hardest thing to identify, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but that's the critical ingredient, because anybody can kind of find people who are already operating at high pitch.
Right.
Who else wants to talk about how you first found out about Adimu and how you got involved in it? And if somebody doesn't volunteer, I'm going to start pointing, pointing the magic finger. Go ahead.
When I attended my freshman year, my freshman orientation, and I heard a lot of girls screaming, I'm like, what's going on? So and I looked on stage, and there were, I can point him out. He was really into it. And then they were like screaming everybody's name, and I was like shocked. And then I was like, who are they? And then I was told you could join this group, and I was like, I was really feeling it. Like the way they were feeling, they looked like a team, like a brotherhood kind of thing. And then like they really connect. Even like you on stage, they would really connect with each other. And then I was like, this could be me up there one day. And then when I got to school, they were saying a whole bunch of stuff about informational meeting, essays, and I'm like, that's not for me. But
So when it came to the work, you were,
yeah,
no.
I'm like, no. But I eventually did it, and I felt good after that.
How hard was it to write the essay?
It wasn't really hard for me at all because I am a really good writer. Yes, sir.
What was your... That's good. Well, you know, false modesty is not, you got to know what your strengths are, right? Tell me what you wrote in your essay, Mr. Good Writer.
I wrote about what it's like to be what a real man means to me, and how you could be a better person and have goals, have a positive mindset about what's going on around you, what a real man represents.
So tell me what a real man represents.
I mean, in my perspective, everybody have different opinion of what a real man is, but a real man should be there when someone's falling, should be there to pick up your brother, should be there to help someone when they need help. You should be a successful man. You should not follow the crowd. You should always be a leader. You should always represent yourself in a presentable way. You should always be yourself.
Very good. Is that the question
Yes.
usually asked? What does it take to be a real man?
Your definition of a real
Man. Okay. We're going to ask all of you to start remembering what you wrote on that, too, because, but I still want to find out, so I'm giving you a chance to do it, find what brought you to this, aside from the thrill of writing about this. Go ahead.
Well, I was introduced to the club my sophomore year because my freshman year, I wasn't really at Ely. I was only there for one block or whatnot. I was in a program called LCA, where I was at BCC for my first 3 blocks. So my sophomore year, I had a friend, he an alumni right now, because he recently graduated. So one day we were just sitting down talking, and we saw the Adimu step team doing the pep rally or whatnot. So we're like, hey, why not join it? We're not doing nothing after school, just go home and play, waste our time basically. So what we did was we talked to some of the guys because we were cool with some of the previous guys in there. So we got the information or whatnot, and then, so we did the whole process, and thankfully we got accepted, and so we have been in there ever since then. And
Super.
Right.
Super. Did you say you were taking courses at BCC?
Right.
At what level?
It was regular high school classes, but it was introducing us to the college life.
I see.
It was basically dual enrollment,
I
kind
see.
of.
Okay, great. Did you want to tell me how you first became involved?
Me,
Want to speak up? You sure?
I think it was my 8th grade year before I didn't go to freshman orientation because I was out of town. But when they was having orientation at the school at Crystal Lake Middle, and I seen them stepping, and I was like, whoa.
Whoa, I know, that's what we all say, whoa.
I was like, whoa, because I seen him, they used him as a rope.
A rope?
A rope.
What do you mean you use a rope?
We do this little thing where they use me as a human jump rope, where one guy gets my foot, one guy gets my hand, they turn me, and then they jump like a rope.
Oh.
And they jump over me and over
That
me.
sounds like fun for the others.
And I was like, wow, that's fresh. And I was just like, I want to join it. But my freshman year, that's when I really joined it. But I was kind of scared because I was a shy person. Like, I did my essay, I didn't even know what to write. So I just wrote, but I actually went and used a dictionary.
And you did, wow. And what words did you look up?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you wrote?
Not really.
Not really, just
Because-
but you got accepted, so that's good. Well, great.
And I'm a sophomore now.
Good.
And it's like, it really made me who I am today because I was a shy person. I didn't like to talk. I didn't like to be an outspoken person. I didn't like to speak my mind. But like, I guess it was going towards the end of the year. Everybody was running for officer. And I thought I wouldn't make it because I'm a sophomore. I was a freshman. So I ran, and I was shocked that I won the position as historian.
Historian.
Yeah.
You got to write for that, right?
Yeah, and because I'm an outspoken person, I just speak my mind.
Super. What about being in this club got you to go from being shy to assertive?
It's basically brotherhood, really, because I don't like to me, I didn't really like talking to boys because in my mind I thought that was like, that's kind of.
You got to explain this to me because I don't get all this stuff. Go ahead.
Because I thought it was like, probably, it don't feel right if people had thought of me as a person that's just like to talk to boys, not the girls. So I started, like, I really hanged in there, and I was like, I started talking to a few of them, and they were like, we'll have fun, laugh, and everything. And like, we do stuff together like we're a family. We're like brothers. Like, everybody have the same mother, same father. But we'll do everything. We go out, we go out to eat, or we go to the movies, play basketball. And it's just like, wow, you can never find that in no other school. It's like, this is the only club that really has that type of brotherhood.
So without this, you wouldn't have that.
To me, if it wasn't for this club, I would have probably been really getting into fights and stuff
Really?
like that. But it's this club that kept me going and see the positive way.
Super. That's great. Wonderful. Well, I guess you didn't have to remember what you wrote about because you lived it. You live it, that's it. How did you get involved? Who pushed you, or maybe you pushed yourself?
Kevin pushed me, but fortunately, he couldn't drag me in like Drake.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit harder to drag you than it would.
He always motivated me to come and join the club, but freshman year, I had started off rough, and I got a bad grade on my report card, and it motivated me to keep pushing, and then I was studying, and then I just didn't feel like it was time, and then I had knew Deontay, and we decided to go out for the step team, and
Now, you weren't the rope, I take it.
no.
I didn't picture you as a rope.
No, and I went on through it, but I decided it wasn't for me, and I came back the next year, and I really didn't get into the club until my junior year, and I decided, I was like, let me give it a try instead of just going home and doing nothing really. And I got in, and I realized it's a good thing. It makes you really get that brotherhood bond. It makes you open up to yourself, and it makes you just a better person all inside. You learn a whole bunch of good traits, and it makes you proud. It makes you proud to say that you're a Adimu man of excellence. It makes you, everybody looks up to you. Like, before, I wouldn't really talk to people because I just wasn't a good person to talk to, and most people are intimidated of me, but I kind of broke that barrier with everybody in here, and it's like, I was happy that I did. I really developed brotherhood with a lot of people, Clint, everybody, Deontay, Kevin. Me and Kevin actually, I feel like we could be blood brothers. I could go in his house and call his mom, Mom! That's just how he is. He could do the same with my mom, and it's just a great thing.
But you said you first tried it or went to it, and then you decided it wasn't for you, and you hesitated and kind of went back and forth.
Yeah.
Why did you hesitate to begin with?
I wasn't really a mindset. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was back and forth, and I wanted to really focus on school. Then I realized I started doing better. I decided I have a little bit more time on my hands. I could go ahead and try out for the club. And I wrote my essay, did my interview, and I made it.
We're going to get to those essays in a moment. You've had a chance to think about it. I think you're the only one I haven't asked I won't ask how you became the rope, but how did you first get into the club?
The end of my freshman year, I knew Dre from middle school, went to the same middle school, and they was having like step team tryouts. And I wanted to try something new. At first, I seen the club at freshman orientation. I thought like step team was cool, but I was a little skeptical. I was like, because I had that, child's mindset, wearing shirt and tie to school, that's not cool and all that. And I didn't want to dress up. But then I tried out for the team, and I really liked it. And I actually kind of like snuck in. I got in through the step team. I didn't have to write the essay or anything.
I just knew you were a good rope. Huh?
Yeah.
I guess if you were willing to get moved around like that, then that says it, huh?
Yeah, and then I got in the club, and I really enjoyed it. And I started to get like close to the guys. The step team is when I bonded, because I guess you could say I was a shy person, and you really bond, like you with these people all day, every day, and we really bonded. I met like some of my best friends through the club. They're like all alumni now, but we still talk and all that. And once I got in the club, I just seen like my mindset change. Like Mr. Campbell, I used to play around as like class clown. Mr. Campbell always tells us time and place for everything. Like, we love to have fun, but you got to get serious. This is your future that you're playing with. So I got serious about work, and the club, it's like nonstop fun. It's always fun. We have fun on the bus ride over here.
And you're having fun right now.
Yeah, we're having fun
There
right
you
now.
go. Okay.
So I just got in the club. I really enjoyed it. I did the step team for a few years, and that was, a real fun time. Yeah, it was the jump rope.
Now, did you ever get to step, or were you always the rope?
Yeah, nah. I got the step, and I had real fun, and like, I graduated this year. It's my last year as a senior, and I know it's gonna be like hard leaving some of my good friends behind, but they have prepared me for the future.
Super.
And I think I'm ready now.
Now, let's go to those essays, because the question is a very simple one. Repeat it, Mr. Campbell, if you will.
What is your definition of a real man?
And the important word there is real.
Right.
Correct. So, what is your definition of a real man? What did you write about to get you in? So, who wants to share that? Yes.
Well, when I got the topic, I had to sit down and think about it, and think about my life and my people that I look up to in my life, and actually think about, are they real men? And if I thought that they were, I would write down their qualities and what they would do on a day-to-day basis. And basically, I found that role model that I needed in my life, and I talked to him. Before I did my essay, I talked to him. I actually found out his qualities and what he goes by in his life, his goals and his his motives. So I took that into consideration, and I sat down and I actually wrote my paper. A real man is someone that takes opportunities and he goes for it. He runs for anything. He takes on his goals and challenges that he has to do, and he succeeds by any means necessary. He goes far and beyond. He's a rare, unique type of person, and he doesn't take anything for granted. He goes with the flow of life, but stays on topic and stays focused with everything that he does.
Okay. Anybody else want to share? Yes.
Well, when I seen the essay, the definition of a real man, it made me think about my father, because, like, first of all, I'm named after him, and he's been great. He's like the best father, I feel, because he's my real definition of a real man, because he provides for his family, he protects us, he takes care of us. When I need advice, I can go to my father. When I need, say, my door fixed or something, he's like a handyman. He can do anything around the house. That's my definition of a real man, because a lot of women go around, oh, I need a real man, I need a real man. And it's like, my dad is like a perfect example, because everybody that comes in contact with my dad, they end up like loving him.
Mm-hmm. Super. Anybody else? That goes back to that, yes.
Well, my definition of a real man is basically someone who like don't really care about like what people say, not really like the negativity of what people say. Someone who can like take care of theirs, like put their family first, their family and God, and they themselves. And like for example, like I had a lot of male figures in my life growing up. Like they're all positive role models, in my opinion. It's like someone who cares and like not afraid to show that they care. Like they open up to you and guide you in the right path. Like for example, like Mr. Campbell, he our role model too. Like whether we say it or not, he really is. For example, like he a man of Christ. Like in the club, he shows us the right path. For example, like we have meetings every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays or whatnot, and we have discussions. Like during those discussions, we talk about like a whole different variety of subjects, and some of the varieties of subjects that we talk about actually gave me confidence and made me a better person because of those conversations. Like, for instance, last year or the year before that, I wouldn't be here because I would have been shy. I wouldn't have raised my hand and wanted to come here, but because of the meetings and the discussions that we have, made me confident in myself. So, right, he's
Super.
One of the examples of
A real man. You had it right there. Did you want to? Let's go to the essay, because that's something that some people who may be viewing it are going to say, I can't write an essay. I'm not a good writer the way some people are good writers, or I can't express myself. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, when it comes to the essay, it was, when I first looked at the topic, it was like definition of real man. You didn't really know what to write, but when you sat there and thought about it, if you think you would want to be portrayed in the world as a person, it kind of came to you. Like to me, like a role model. I've always always had a role model, my dad, and he's always been there and everything. And I think that's somebody that everybody should have, a role model. And because you're just a high school student, and so that doesn't mean you can't be a role model. And the club really works on that, and it makes you into one. It makes you to show that, okay, we might be able to have fun and stuff, but you can be a role model. Like me and our fellow brothers, we go out, we actually participate in a sickle cell walkathon.
Okay.
And people look up to that. Upcoming members, people who would like to join, they look at it and be like, well, can't believe he's doing that. He's cool with everybody at the school, but yet he finds time to participate in all this stuff and be a man of excellence. And people really look up to having a good role model, and I think that's one real trait that a man should have. And I think everybody here has earned their trait, and I'm thankful to be in the club, and I really thank Mr. Campbell and everybody.
When you had the opportunity to write your application, the essay, your definition of a real man, you then became a member of the club. And in that process, conceivably, you grew and discovered even more about what it takes to be a real man. You have various activities, you have various discussions, you do community service. Let's now paint a picture of what it's like to be in the club. You mentioned the sickle cell walk, and there are other things. Let's talk about your involvement and the things that you do on a weekly and daily and yearly basis. So who'd like to begin? Yes?
This club is like we get involved with everything that goes on. Like we help the community, and like if anybody, like say the schools, they have activities. Even though we're like not part of it, we try to be involved in everything in the school. Like they need ushers, we'll usher, help people and everything. Like community, like we do the Big Brother program at Sanders Park, and we love to hang out and help others, really, and we help out kids, and we make like little kids look up to us as their role models.
Okay, that's part of, so you carry on this idea of being a real man, right. Correct? Who else would like to add? Because there are, give me a sense, Mr. Campbell, of what Tuesday, how long do you meet with them each Tuesday?
The meetings on Tuesday last from 3 until 4:45. And really, we have a set agenda. What we try to do, allow the officers to do their part in terms of providing leadership for the club, and discussing things, whether it's the activities or fundraisers, things of that nature. Because there's a whole lot that goes on within the club. And then towards the end, we'll talk about the badges of manhood, which are the assignments that they actually have to complete when they become members. And these are the assignments that we believe that I pretty much write up, that I believe will help them to build certain character traits, whether it's finding out about their family or things of that nature. They have to present a family tree. They have to start a savings account.
So they find out their genealogy,
Right,
where they're
right.
from, that sort of thing. Okay.
Because I believe it's very important for them to know, a real man knows where he has come from and who he represents. And so when they remember that I'm representing so-and-so, my mom, great-grandma, so I'm not going to act up and misbehave myself. But we discuss those things towards the end of the meeting, and then we have almost like this, a team talk session among Adimu, and we try to deal with different issues, whether it's sexual issues or peer pressure or drugs or hygiene. Those are some of the things that we talk about within the meeting. And so there's different things that we do, and then as Jackson talked about earlier, about every Monday the young men go over to Sanders Park where they volunteer as big brothers to the young men there at that school. So there's a host of things that they do.
Super. What did you learn about the definition of a real man by being in Adimu? You had your essay that you wrote. What did you find out that was different or added to it? You want to start?
Well, I actually got in the same way he did. I didn't write an essay.
You didn't?
No, I snuck in.
You snuck in.
Yeah. And if I had wrote an essay, it would have been Mr. Campbell was a real. I'm just kidding. But
Okay.
No, but seriously, I've learned that the idea of a real man is really based on your own history and your own thought and your own philosophy on that idea. And what I believe it is actually having pride in yourself and pride in things around you. And once you have built, that pride in yourself and building yourself up to what you need to do, helping others and stuff around you and helping your surroundings, the community, the people, trying to make things better for everyone. That's what I believe.
Okay. Yes.
And being in a club, I learned that a real man will fall down many times, but they always get back up. And they set realistic goals that they know that they can accomplish. Yeah, it's great. It's great that you graduate from college and high school, but did you help someone along the way? A real man isn't selfish. Like, yeah, you have yourself together, but you want to help someone along the way. What good is life or the world if you just going about it being selfish and you're not helping someone along the way? A real man, if he sees someone struggling, he's going to help them. But of course, you have to have yourself together before you can help someone else. So, being in a club, I just learned you have to get yourself together first, and also help someone along the way. Yeah, you're gonna fall down. Times are gonna get hard, but you gotta fight through that because the other side is always greener.
Super. Anybody else? The definition, shall I say, got defined or redefined through being in the club? Yes.
Well, being in the club from my freshman year, I've been through a number of, brothers that have graduated because 2006, there were guys that, had different attitudes than we do now. So using them as, sort of kind of a backbone to realize that, okay, you're going to have different people that you're going to encounter in life. So you have to make sure that you have the attitude of, setting the example for you can't have you can't discriminate. You can't think of somebody as you can't judge a book by, its cover. You have to go inside and you have to read that person. So having the guys that graduated before me, I realized that, okay, I'm gonna have a brother that's gonna be this way and I'm gonna have a brother that's gonna be that way. So I take that example and I apply it to the real world. So being a real man, I know that I can't really, think of somebody as this without really knowing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I realized as a real man that a real man honors his words, because we've had a couple brothers come through, and they say that they wanted to be an Adimu man, but they didn't show that commitment. And because of that, they ended up getting removed from the club, losing their membership because they weren't committed. Because they signed a paper saying, I will do this, I will, participate in the club and make the club better and try to better myself, and they just did not show that commitment.
Really?
So I learned the real man honors his word.
People sign a contract in this?
Yes.
Or what does the contract say?
It talks about the standards of conduct, and I will represent myself in a certain way as a member of Adimu. There are certain standards I'm going to keep because we have what we call standards of excellence, that once they become a member, we review those things with them as far as how they'll dress, how they'll carry themselves in terms of their behavior, from the hair to, there's just certain standards of an Adimu man. And so what we do is we make sure we keep track of that, and when there's a certain pattern or we see a trend where they're not honoring those standards, and first of all, I have a conversation with them, and then we give them that probationary period to set things straight so that they can get back on point. And then if they no longer want to be in the club, we deal with that as well. Because as Kevin mentioned, there are some young men, they sign on and they think it's well and good, but they're not willing to pay the cost to be a real man. They're not willing to sacrifice, and a lot of them kind of get swept back up into the negative peer pressure that surrounds them. And it's really difficult for teenage boys these days to kind of stand, as the saying goes, above the influence and just strive for excellence without getting swept back into negativity. But we do have that to happen to some of the young men.
That must be hard.
It is.
When somebody is pulled away, because you've described this camaraderie here, this brotherhood, and then to have to fall away from it has to be a little bit hard. Let's get to that negativity, because you're almost like an oasis of the positive in a sea of other pressure. What is it like for young men your age who do not have this kind of support system and this kind of Adimu? What's it like for a lot of people? What kinds of pressures do they have in general that you see? Yes?
I mean, I see it all the time at my school. Like, our school is not in the best of neighborhoods, and some of the kids that live around there, they get caught up in some things. And I actually have peer counseling first block, so I'm walking around counseling kids and stuff like that, trying to get them on track. And I see the kids walking around, vandalizing the school, and all this is telling me is that they don't have a positive role model in their life. They don't have guidance, because no one starts off as a bad kid. Everyone starts off the same, and it just determines on which direction people pull them to. It's their mindset. If they give in to peer pressure, then that's what's going to happen, because not everyone from a bad neighborhood has to be a bad person. So, myself, I grew up in, not the best of neighborhoods, but to me, I didn't give into that peer pressure. I had a strong mother, and I stayed on track. I joined positive clubs. I did positive things, so that way I wouldn't get pulled away. So it all depends on, your mindset and the people around you.
Very good. Anybody? Yes.
I feel as if there's going to be negativity everywhere you go, but it's a fact that you have to pull yourself away. You have to separate yourself from the group, because you must know what you want and how to get it. You must understand that things not going to come to you. You must strive for what you want. And if you just sit down and expect something to come to you, it's not. And if you want to be successful, the most successful people in the world today dealt with negativity, racism, and everything, but they still overcame their fears. They still separate themselves from the bad, but it's not as if you get pulled, and it's like you push yourself towards it. You could say no, you could separate yourself. It's a fact that you don't want to separate yourself.
Have you heard from people? Do people ever think on the side, they say, oh, you're in that club, you think you're this and you think you're that? And, you get that kind of stuff? Whoa, boy, whoa, because we've been talking about this nice group here, but on the outside, are you considered you ever get people saying, oh, who do you think you are? Yeah, go ahead.
I like to say, you're going to have the people that have their, biased opinions about Adimu. We encounter that almost every day.
Really?
But
Every day?
It's more as they have to realize that people come, their friends, it might be their friend that's, you know, they've been encountering an activity in their life, but they came into Adimu, and once they got in, they change. It's a level. It's like you go from one level to another. You go from here to there, and they don't see that change in them, in their friends. So they're saying to us, we could have been that friend one day, acting as if we had, you know, no sense around school and misbehaving, but they don't see that we went from there to here. So they can't really say anything, basically, really.
So they don't recognize you're just like them.
Yeah,
you
we
made a
just-
choice. They think you think you're up here.
Already up there,
I
we've been
see.
up there.
'Cause-
That's not
okay,
the
any,
case.
you want
I think with the negativity, I think the main problem is like all of us as freshmen encountered it. We went to school, we saw the seniors. I know everybody saw the seniors acting out, and you wanted to be like it. But one thing the club made me realize: in order to be a man, you have to be yourself. You can't follow anybody. You have to be your own role model, and it really shows because most of the kids and the other young men at the school who follow the crowd and are in the negativity range and all of that, they're scared to be themselves. They want to fit in with the crowd and to be like everybody else, so they think fighting and arguing and acting a fool is the way to go. But we know, to be a real man, that we have to exemplify ourselves from that and be yourself. We don't have to have the dreads or whatever it is to follow everybody, but just to be yourself.
Anybody else? Because it's, you say every day. You get
Almost every day.
almost every day. You get somebody saying, "Hey, who do you think you are?" Okay, go ahead.
Either one of us.
No, no, I just chose you. That's it.
Okay, well, actually, ironically, I've seen that a lot of people that have that feeling about us, like they'll say things, you know, they think they're all this, they're all that. I found that it's actually, I don't know exactly where it roots from, but I found that, ironically, I think it might be actually wanting to be part of it, but due to influences around them, they don't want to. But when they get away from those influences, I found that sometimes those same people who say those things end up coming by themselves to try out for Adimu and stuff like that when they don't have any other kind of negative influence on them.
They may be a cry for you to convince them.
Right.
Sometimes the salespeople always say the easiest ones to convert are the ones who are the most negative. What would you like to say?
When I was trying to join the Adimu, it would be like a couple of my friends would be like, "Oh, that's some gay stuff. Why would you want to join the Adimu? It's so gay." I'm like, I'm not joining it for you, because I'm joining it for me to better myself. If you still want to stay in that kid stage, it's like, you're not going nowhere in life. You need to just grow up. And I seen that it have a real positive vibe on me. So I used to be the ones to run to fights and all that stuff.
Really, you were a fighter?
No. I used to be one run with the crowd.
Oh, okay, I see.
Just to see fights. But like it seemed like there's no point of it, cause I might end up getting shot, killed, or anything running with the crowd. But it's like when they see me don't do that, they be like, "Oh, he think he better than us, cause he's in the Adimu." But that just don't really phases me.
Yes, Ms. Campbell.
If there's one thing I can say, a lot of the negativity that these guys encounter, as Jackson was trying to allude to, is so many young men that think that it's a soft thing. You're not being a man if you are positive or if you carry yourself in a certain way. It's perceived as you're being soft. And as somebody else mentioned earlier, a lot of guys get swept into this and believe that they want to fit in and be accepted by their peers, so they put on this air like they're this, that, or the other, when, as Blake talked about, they really do want to be a part of the group. They want to have something like this as a part of their lives, but because of their friends' perception, they want to please their friends so much, they can't get past what their friends are saying in order to develop themselves. So we run into the soft designation all the time.
Sure. Well, that's why that essay,
Right.
which kind of tells you where people's heads are to begin with, and then the experience during the club is so important.
Right.
You've had 10 years of success in this program in Adimu. Tell me briefly what some of the graduates have done.
I'm very, very proud of the Adimu alumni. I stay in touch with pretty much all of them. At some point in time, we have reunions annually where the guys will come back down and they'll share just some insight with the current members. We have one that recently passed the bar exam in Georgia. He's one of our founding members. That he's an attorney now. We have an alumni, I believe. He's on his way to being a doctor. We have several that are architects and just young men that are trying to still remain positive and strive for excellence in their lives. Some of them don't go off to college. Some of them stay and they start families. Actually, as a minister, I had the opportunity to perform a wedding ceremony for one of the alumni members, and that was recently. So that was something to experience. But they're doing a lot of positive things. We have some in the military. One of our alumni members is over in Japan now with his family within the Marines. And like I said, they all stay in touch. The ones that are in college now, and I speak with them regularly, just still trying to push them because they get discouraged still, even at that age, but we still try to motivate them.
Even the eldest would be in his late 20s.
Yeah.
It's after only 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's extraordinary. We have an empty chair here, this green chair, and let's pretend that this is a potential member of Adimu. Give me who'd like to be a recruiter? We're talking to the potential people out there. Who wants to be the recruiter? We'll start with you as recruiter, but you're going to get there too, because you tend to physically drag people in. What are you going to say to somebody who's out there and on the fence, or has given in, or is likely to be in that negative pressure yet? Because those are the ones who might be giving you negativity. What would you say to them about what Adimu can do for you?
Well, as a president, being in the club for 4 years, I would definitely let him know that it's not all about, the material things or what other people are doing. It's about what you have to do to get past into the next level. You don't just stop at high school. So all the things that you're doing right now, they're not going to amount to anything that you could be doing in college or in the real world after college. Some things you just have to give up on doing. You have to give up on thinking, in a negative perspective. You have to, build your mind. You have to build upon your mind and just be a better person as a whole. So joining Adimu, you get the help. I'm not saying that we actually create you, because you're already created and you already have your state of mind, but we actually help you, tone it up and get it into the state of mind that it really needs to be.
What are your own aspirations? Some of you are graduating,
Yes.
I think this year, or will be soon. Share with me some of the things that you would like to do. You want to start? You're the president of the
Yes.
club? Okay, so we'll start with you, Mr. President.
I plan to graduate from the pre-medical program at Blanche-Ely High School and go off to UF and become a veterinarian one day.
Super. That's harder than being a person doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, very much. Anybody else? Yes.
After I graduate, I'm not decided on what college at the moment, but most likely UF to study civil engineering.
Great.
After graduation, I plan on attending UCF to study psychology.
Super. Yes.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. We skipped. You're welcome.
not graduating.
If you don't have a thought, it's okay not to have your whole life planned out. I just want to share with some of the ideas. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, he didn't.
I'm not graduating, but that's why I'm planning on going on UF, and probably I'm going into music.
Music?
Music field.
You play an instrument?
I play drums and I sing.
Oh, great. Good. Super. Yeah.
Right, my college is still undecided, but I plan on getting my major in criminal justice and a minor in sports medicine.
Good. Mm-hmm. Got any ideas?
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on going to college. My first pick right now is FAU, and I want to get my bachelor's in biology and hopefully go on to medical school after that.
Super. Anybody here? You okay?
I plan on graduating this year, and I'm undecided on which college to go to, but I know I want to be either an accountant or a financial advisor.
Very good. We need lots of financial advisors in the economy. Absolutely. Keep the economy. We need integrity in the financial advising. Go ahead.
I plan on attending Florida Atlantic University, and my major is going to be in biology. But that's really just to start me off. I really want to get a career in forensic science.
Forensic science. Super. Good.
The colleges, I have a bunch of different ones I'm looking at, but the main one is UF, and I want to either be going to psychology or I want to go into medicine to be a person doctor.
Super. Mr. Campbell's the founder of this, and I think he means special things to you. Anybody want to say anything on camera to him about the difference he's made? Yeah.
He made a lot of differences in my life because, I was a trouble. I was not a troublemaker, but the things that comes out my mouth was
Really? And you said you didn't speak up. You just said foul things. You didn't speak up, yeah?
Yeah, but like he really showed me the positive way I could say anything without them. But we still working on that now. And he taught me that like, he's like a father to me. Like, cause at this school, I think if it wasn't for him, I would have probably been kicked out of Blanche Ely.
Really? Really?
Because he really showed a good positive way for me.
Well,
Yeah, you.
well, Mr. Campbell in the club itself made me a better person and made me more mature. Like, I used to be the one who always playing around, like, not really skip classes, but tend to be laid back and like, always took the easy way out, but now I'm like more mature and like actually put effort and don't settle for less than my best, as our motto says.
Super. What would you like to say?
I want to actually thank Mr. Campbell because he actually started a club to help us as young men become better people to the society. And as we know, people always say we are the future, the children are the future and stuff, but not many people take the time to exemplify that, to show us that we are important to the society. But he took the time to talk to us and show us that after high school is not it. We are important to the world, and we are needed after high school to go to school and become successful doctors, lawyers,
Great. That's
and
wonderful.
all that. I want to say thank you for giving us the
Thank
opportunity.
you. Very good. We want to thank you. I want to thank all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Until next time, for all of us at Teen Talk, and I really want to acknowledge all of you and wish you every success. This is Stephen Goldstein. Good day.